this is Redden from VIP Guild here with another assassin tanking video for Star Wars The Old Republic. This video consists of 4 tips that will hopefully help you in tanking significantly. Let's begin. Tip 1 discusses the assassin ability Guard. I don't really know why a lot of players have trouble understanding this spell, but I assume it's because people don't actually read the tooltip in full and kind of jump to conclusions. Guard does 3 key functions. 2 of them apply to PvE tanking. The tooltip reads, while active, the guarded player takes 5% less damage and generates 25% less threat. In addition, so long as you remain within 15 meters of the guarded player, 50% of all incoming damage from enemy players is transferred back to you, and that it requires Dark Charge. What this means is that whoever you protect with Guard will passively take 5% less damage from all sources and generate 25% less threat. Now, these abilities transfer to the PvP aspect, but there's no real reason that you would want a threat reduction currently with the current war zones. But the exclusive PvP portion of the spell is that as long as you're within 15 meters of the guarded player, 50% of the incoming damage that he takes will go back to you if and only if it's from an enemy player. So if you're playing Hutball and he takes damage from the fire trap, he's screwed and you can't help him. So with this in mind, Guard should be used on your most aggressive DPSer. It absolutely baffles me when I see tanks hitting it on their healers, because DPS aggro is way higher than healer aggro, and you can't really argue the fact that since it doesn't really protect them, it doesn't really reduce their damage by 50%, you can't really argue that you're protecting your healer or whatever. So it should go on your most aggressive DPSer, and chances are the highest DPS in your raid is already probably holding back on his damage so that he doesn't pull threat. So with this buff active on him, he can actually do significantly more damage without worrying about the threat. If you'd like a more in-depth view on threat, please click the annotation to check out my other video regarding threat and damage cycles. Tip 2 is called focus frames and focus modifiers. So this right here, this is a focus frame. And the way that I get it up there is by going to Preferences, hitting Escape obviously, going to Preferences, going to the Keybinds tab, Targeting, and then going down to Set Focus Target or Swap Focus Target. I have mine set to G. And what this does is, whenever I target something, if I don't have a target, I'm going to press G again and it'll automatically remove it. So if I have a target here and I hit G, he goes to my focus. And this is an extremely useful frame because it displays his health, his resource, current buffs, debuffs, and if he's casting anything. This is his target. This is my target right here. This is my cast bar. My target's cast bar. My focus's cast bar. So this focus frame is extremely useful. For everybody. But the key use for it is when you hit a modifier, so that you can tell your spells to hit him rather than your focus target. And the way that we do this is we hit Escape again, and we go to Preferences, and then we're on the key bindings page. We go to Targeting, and then we scroll down a bit to here, which is called Focus Target Modifier. Now mine is set to number 7 because I just have a mouse button that's bound to 7. So when I hit that on my keyboard number 7, or on my mouse, which is what I use, you'll see that my cursor turns purple. You see that difference right there? It goes from yellow to purple. And this is an indication that the next spell, as long as I'm holding this key down, will go to my focus. So I'm going to show you guys how it works. If I'm targeting Talos and my focus target is the target dummy, let me put that up there. So here's Talos as my target, and my targeting dummy is the focus. If I hit 1, I can't hit it because the target is not an enemy player. 1 is my shock. So since he's not an enemy, I can't really hurt him. But if I have my focus down, you'll see that automatically my offensive abilities light up, because now that target is eligible for me to hit him, and if I hit 1, it'll automatically go to my focus target without me switching targets. Now this is obviously a really, really big deal for tanks, especially for things like, taunt swaps or whatever. And for me, the way that I use it on fights like Zorn and Toth or the 2 tanks in Denova is that whichever one I'm not on, I have set to my focus target. So if I'm targeting this guy, and I want to taunt Talos over, or actually let me switch this up. This guy is going to be my focus, and Talos is going to be my target, and I just do that with hitting G for my specific keybind. If I'm targeting Talos and I need to do a taunt, all I have to do is hold down and hit my taunt, which is shift 2 for me. So all I have to do is hold down. You'll see that it's now purple, and then I hit it, and that guy gets taunted. You see the red flare right there, and you see the debuff on him right there. So, after that, what I do specifically, to get a little more specific, as soon as that happens, this guy's coming towards me. Hopefully the other tank is going to pull this guy away, but my target is still Talos. So what I do at this point is I just hit G, and it swaps them, so that my current target becomes the targeting dummy, and my current focus turns to Talos. So if we're on Zorn and Toth, Talos is now running towards the other tank, the targeting dummy is running towards me, and all I have to do as soon as he gets in range is go ahead and continue my my damage cycle. Tip number 3 is called key bindings and target marking. So guys, the biggest hindrance that you could possibly put on yourself is clicking your spells instead of binding them. Obviously, anybody who says that clicking isn't a major hit to their performance is full of shit. However you look at it, whether it be the time delay that it takes for you between, going to the right square or, kind of landing it in between them, if it's like up there and then trying to go back there to the square, I don't even know how it works. I haven't been using my mouse for eons. But I mean, if it's whether it's the distance that you have to travel or the fact that it takes focus from you, it takes some mental power for you to be able to kind of aim it so that it doesn't kind of land like anywhere. Between that and the distance and the delay between you hitting it, however you really look at it, it's going to be a hindrance. And my suggestion to you guys, if you don't currently use key bindings and you want to be a better tank, the first thing you need to do is bind your keys. And look at my interface, guys. Everything that I have is currently bound. Truth be told, the only things that are not bound are my sprint and dark charge, which are active all the time. I click these. My fort dim, which I can only use out of combat. I should use out of combat. My quick travel, which I use out of combat, which I can only use out of combat, and my heroic moment and my heroic moment legacy stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do when I have more level 50s, but we'll see how that works. Even my unity, which is my 50% reduction on damage when I'm soloing and I have my pet, I actually just swap these two when I'm not doing a war zone to throw the hut ball or not, and it's the same keybind. So everything else on my interface is bound. Anything that I'll need in combat is bound. You guys, it's the biggest performance boost that you can ever imagine. And as an aside note for that, you can, related to the same thing, as a tank, I suggest that you also bind, your raid markers. And for me, these things they're absolutely critical that you can do them. And, the way that you do them is you hit escape, you go to preferences, and then you go to key bindings, and then from here you go to targeting, and you go all the way down so that you can, mark as green or mark as whatever. I have mine set to Shift V, Shift C, Shift Z, Shift X. All these things allow you to quickly put up a raid marker on these targets. And I obviously can't do it, I don't know, for some reason right now. But either way, it's a lot easier for your callouts, for you, like on TeamSpeak or on Vent or Mumble or whatever you guys are using, for you to call like a damage or CC or interrupt raid marker rather than saying, oh, do the the back left mob or whatever. And guys, the final tip that I have for you is camera angles. So as tanks, we're usually sitting, with our backs toward the wall and kind of a big boss, and we're kind of like staring at its crotch. So it's really difficult for us to get stuff going. And my suggestion to you is to always keep your camera in a way that you can see under you so that you know if to move out, and to play with it so that you can see the rest of your raid as much as possible. Because it doesn't always have to be right in front of you where you're looking right at the boss. Just remember that you can always look under you, and you can always kind of, have that free view right there so that you guys can be aware of all your surroundings and do better raid callouts and, pay attention to stuff that might kill you. So that's the end of my tanking tips and tricks video, guys. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you like the content and would like to see more. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.